test station. Green screen and recording stuff. So still getting things together. Things are about 95% done. Just this is the Switch build. It's one of an older build. I haven't deployed the latest build that I'm working on. But you can see how it's turning out so far. So I'm at the stage of development right now where I could have. There's multiple ways you can approach development, especially when you're remastering a product or porting a product onto a new platform. You can take a very structured, document-driven way, which is important for teams, but that can be very time-consuming depending on what that project is. And so for this particular project in the stage of development, I'm doing what I call tumbling through, where I'm actually just playing the title, and I'm tumbling through it, and when I see something that needs addressing, I'll write that down on the task list, and then I'll say, okay, that vending machine texture needs to be upscaled. It's still using not just the 3DS texture, but the 3DS material, so it doesn't have the right specular data, it doesn't have normal maps on it. So that is something that I would put on my documentation, which I'm probably going to do now. I'm opening my documents here. I'm going to punch that on in. How about that? So I'm going to Guardians and Exterminators here. So yeah, what we'll be seeing today, this won't be a terribly long stream, but I just wanted to share some of the process with you. Okay. So please let me know how the stream is doing, especially compared to the previous streams. I'm on a different workstation now, a different computer. I'm not sure if things look better or if things look worse. I'm using a different version of all the different software, so this is an all-new setup. I suppose this is our first live stream on the new setup at the moment, and things aren't really working perfectly just at the moment. Alright. Okay, cool, thanks. If the video quality doesn't seem right or something that's off and similar, please let me know. Okay, so that was interesting. So I ended up changing my weapon while I was in the menu for the vending machine, so that's interesting. And that's something that I'm going to punch in now. Machine texture. So next time we stream, let's see, the sound balancing is a bit of an issue you can hear, but the sound effects of the game are super loud. I didn't realize that the audio was coming through that. Thank you very much. Like I said, I had all of this preset before. It was all set up, and then OBS wouldn't accept all the setup I had done before, so I had to erase it and start a new setup. So I don't know if that's something I'm going to have to live with moving forward, but honestly, it's pretty irritating. Alright, I'm going to turn down the input of that. Oh, I see what was happening. The music was coming through that the whole time. Ah, okay. That makes a lot of sense to me now. Thank you, Genose. Alright, so I'll explain to you what stage I'm at right now. Is everything's totally functional with Guardians and Metal Exterminators, but the menus are still being drawn, or trying to be drawn to a second screen, which doesn't exist on the Nintendo Switch. Maybe I could build a system where you can have two Nintendo Switches and you can use one as the touchscreen and the other one can be on the TV, but that's a story for another day. So right now, what I'm in the middle of doing is reprogramming the menu systems so they display on the one screen, on the one display. I've finished designing the post-processing stack, I suppose you can call that, or the sort of the visual aesthetic of the entire game in terms of the visual processing. And I wanted a punchy, vibrant, contrasty look to Guardians and Metal Exterminators. It's set in the 80s, and when we think of the 80s, we think of a vibrant, rich, neon color scheme. So that's what I was aiming for with this. So we'll just go ahead, we'll see what the battle system looks like here. And again, we can't see our health bar. I don't know what my objectives are, so I'm probably just going to get killed. So you can see my light doesn't cast shadows. It's still using the 3DS light. So the objects here are not casting shadows. My characters, my monsters are not casting shadows. So that is something that I'm going to... Sorry for bumping the microphone. I have to get used to that here. So that's something I'm going to put onto my notes now. You can see there's an issue here when I was porting from the 3DS to the Switch. If the wolf plays a certain animation now, he goes ballistic. He sort of detaches from his body and goes flying off a bit. So that's something that I will make note of and adjust. So I will say, let's see, character, lighting, has no shadows. And I think that enemy is using the yeah, it's been updated, so it has a proper specular data, and it's quite reflective and shiny. And you can see a bit of the sort of the bloom effect now that the bright colors on the screen, the brights now look more interesting, and there's a bit of a color bleed when it comes to the bright things. I'll be tightening up the combat a fair bit. And just improving the mechanics overall. This should work if I press that, yeah. So see, you can see the wolf detaching there. I better put that on my notes here. Wolf, I'm going to say root animation issue. There we go. Yeah, oh, thank you, thank you. And this is, I'm trying to, I think at some point I may switch over. I don't know if I'll have time to do it on this stream because I don't want it to get too fiddly. Maybe we'll stream tomorrow. Oh, no, right. So I've started volunteering to play music at a hospital for cancer patients and their visitors. So there'll be one morning a week where I won't be in my office. I'll be at the hospital playing music. So let's see. Is it break the vases? Vases? Vases. Break them. I don't know if that's the mission here. I'm gonna break them and see. It doesn't really matter. I should just let these guys kill me. Okay. See that the all the particle effect lights should be casting shadows as well. Let's see. Yeah, all particle effects need updating. Particle effects and lighting updating, or remastering, really. I should put that. I'll put enhance is the proper term here. I got a metal exterminator here. Oh, hey, so I'm designing one new metal exterminator type enemy. So he'll be in a similar family of these spiky dudes and the metal exterminators there. Similar family. Kind of like how the Undertakers kind of have a family. The face takers have a bit of a family, so that, you know, these, I always sort of grouped the spiky guys and the metal exterminators together, but there's one new enemy that I'm designing, and that will be an enemy that you encounter in missions, and also will be a new playable cryptid as well. So there we go. So you can see everything is high definition now. Oh, yeah, there we go. I'll just zoom in and we can have a closer look here. You can do that. So I'm not sure, in this build, that ground is not... no, I think this is... I want to enhance the sort of the bumpiness and the organic feel of the ground, so I think I'm going to give it some strong normal mapping data. You can see there's certain situations where Ox's skin looks quite red. That's a result of the post-processing. So that's something that I need to make a note of, which I will do here. Post-processing red skin. And yeah. So yeah, I said I would share more of the development process, whether or not those steps are as fun and dynamic as creating monsters. But this is one of the things that you have to do when you're working on games, especially when you're remastering and porting. This is just one of the very important things you have to do. So right now I'm using a method called just falling through or stumbling through. I'm falling through, I think. Yeah. I got it. Okay, I gotta be careful with that microphone. Yeah, you know, it's if there's an opportunity to sort of make people's day better, to make things just feel a bit more doable, you know, I'm sure a lot of us have had family that have gone through all kinds of different illnesses, and especially with cancer, and it's terrible. It's frustrating, and everything just feels like it's the worst thing that's in the world. And it's often when you have family, or when you yourself are in that situation, it's the only thing you get to look at. It's the only thing you get to see. It's the only thing you get to smell and hear. And I think any little bit, any bit of positivity, just it goes a long way, and I think it makes a huge difference. So yeah. So, oh, thanks for that, Chinoze. So, okay, so this ground is this. I don't know. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So what's happening is this ground does have normal data, which means it specifies how bumpy it is. Like, you'll see how red Oxa is here, which is why I've made a note of it. This is a result of the post-processing stack, where I wanted the game to have a more vibrant color, but it's resulted in this red-purple look to the skin. So that's something I'll fix. But the ground here, this is how I want the ground to look, just rich and detailed and sharp. And the reason why it doesn't look like that once I got into that mission was because the player's flashlight doesn't have shadows casting. How do I need to fix this here. This is too loud. Alright, so I'll go into another mission. So again, I can't see which character, but I know that gold is selectable from the very beginning. This is a new save file. So I can, okay, gold should be in the second slot. So if I go there, I'm going to press down on the D-pad, press A, it'll switch me to gold. There we go. So I'm not sure if this build has gold's updated or enhanced, remastered character model. Let me just get out of the way here. No. Yeah, I think that's the enhanced one. I'm in the way. I'm having a hard time telling here. Yeah, this is the enhanced visuals. Jesse Glenn, how's it going? Good to see you. Was the US trip a nice stress relief from the manic coding last year? Thanks again for the download codes at the time. That's my pleasure. I'm glad I could get the download codes to you. It was very good. But it was, look, to be honest, I didn't really go there really to relax. I was there to spend time with family, especially family that were, their health is not so good. So I went there to really take care of family. And it was just, and it kind of put me in that mindset of what is there anything I could do to try and make things better for anyone, you know? And so I was playing music for um, friends that I consider family, and they're not well, and it just seemed to brighten up their day, and it just made the day a bit more doable for them, and especially for the family around it. It made things just feel a bit better, you know. And so yeah, that's why I started volunteering at the hospital one day a week to play music for the cancer patients. So. Gino's you lost your mom to ovarian cancer back in 2020. You can guarantee that she loved having that kind of kindness and support in the world while she was going through it. You know, I just hope that you were all able to spend time together and just enjoy each other's company, and you know, I hope that she wasn't alone at the end. You know, you hear people say, "Oh, I'm sorry," but I don't like saying that, because what does that help? If I said I'm sorry, if anyone said I'm sorry, that doesn't make anything better. And what do they have to be sorry about? You know, it's not like they could have done anything to make things better. You know, so. And it's tough. We're all constantly going through the world, losing people and losing things, parts of ourselves, and people that we love, and the people that we love are parts of ourselves. And that's just, it's part of life, and if anything, I see it as an opportunity when you go through loss like that. I think it's an opportunity to grow and to learn to understand people better, so that you can support people better, and just be a better person. You know, so okay. So what I'm seeing here is the character model is not receiving shadows and not casting shadows as well. So I'm going to put that on my notes right now. Okay. So there are, I think I'm adding, I'll have to double check, it's either 2 or 3 new playable humans, and again, I think 2 or 3 more playable cryptids as well. We'll check. See, here's the thing. I wanted Owl to be playable, but there are story reasons why I didn't really want him engaged in combat for a while. And there's a story that I'm telling him and telling with him, and it's involved with Winnie, you know, the married couple. And you know how in White Inside it's Umbra, Owl, he's only playable as the Wii U gamepad character, so he's supporting the other characters. He isn't himself actively engaged in the combat, and there's a long, you know, plan for that story that I'm telling, why he doesn't engage in combat like the other characters do. He's more of a support role, and I did want Owl to be playable in this, but I think again I'm just gonna have to stick to my guns, and Owl won't be one of the playable characters. And if you enjoyed Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers, you know, Base Boulderfield, he will be added in the HD remaster to Guardians of the Metal Exterminators. So we'll get to spend time with Base in the 80s, and you'll have a nice, cool fro, and you know, probably some disco-looking clothes. So let me take my notes here real quick. All characters need to cast and receive shadows. I better put all characters meshes. There we go. Let's all enjoy our coffee for a second. Teen Jose, you moved back in with her while she was going through treatment so you could take care of her. I'm glad you got to spend time with her. You know, because sometimes people are in a position where they don't get to spend time with their family. They don't get to support them because of whatever circumstances they're in, and then they don't really get a chance to say goodbye, and that's what's really brutal. Owl. So yeah, you know. Oh, you know what I was doing? No, I wasn't switching weapons. I was accidentally buying a new weapon by pressing A. That's what I meant. So I gotta fix my notes there. So again, I'll probably be finished with all of the menus. I'm kind of thinking a good 3 days non-stop. I should have all of the menus sorted out. So that means that your energy and your health meter will be on screen. And all the menus which are currently the game's trying to draw it to a second screen. I bet if I plugged one switch into another one and just jammed him in there, it would draw it on the second screen. But for now, it's drawing it off screen. So I'm considering overhauling the animations as well, because you know you can sort of move and then they stutter a bit, right? So what I would do in terms of setup is I would disconnect the movement animations from the upper body animations, and I would have to program a fair bit of logic for that. But that would mean that this sort of hiccuping where he's sort of sliding forward, it would change that so that he would properly move. So I think I have someone knocking at the door. Maybe a delivery. I said I was waiting on parts. I'll be right back. Okay. How do I get back to this? Oh. I died. I stepped away to answer the door and I died. Hi, Elenon. How's it going? Alright, great. So that was a delivery. It may be some parts for the office. Let me go ahead. I remember that you have to hold the A button. So I'm going to have a look here. So, actually, okay, so no, this build doesn't have the fully updated visuals for gold. So he's still using his 3DS materials, so his clothes don't have the more advanced rendering. I'm going to go ahead and open these deliveries here. Again, welcome to the Sungrant Unboxing channel. And I will be unboxing these, and hopefully these are some useful parts that I needed. It's all just a bunch of, like cables and adapters to get the whole studio working. Today I'll be using the CRKT, which is a very nice solid blade. It's quite thick. It's one of my favorite ones, actually. It's got this really nice sort of a brushed metal on one side and sort of an anodized black on the other side. A really fantastic solid. It's great. It's got a lot of weight to it. It's got a good handle. The catch is quite thick, so it's actually easy to access. It's very comfortable. I also like that it's not semi-assisted, so you just push it, it opens under your own weight. Also, one of my favorite things about this particular knife is that you can remove the clip and you can actually set it on the other side, so you can have it sit there, or you can turn it around and have the clip on the other side facing either direction. So this is what they call an omnidextrous knife. I made that up. Trademark Sungran 2023 omnidextrous knife. So I'm going to go ahead and open these, and hopefully they are some parts for the office. Let's see what we got here. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm restoring a violin or two to use in recordings. I'll go ahead and play it later, actually. But this is a fence post. Whew. This is a sound post adjustment tool. You know how violins have fence posts. You Skylanders know I stopped buying Skylanders a long while ago because I think I've checked off everything on my list that I needed. So okay, this is to adjust my violin fence post. So I think these are. I think this is kind of heavy. I don't know what's in here. Okay. We got a couple things here. What is this? What is this? Hey, great! I need this. Okay. This is a wireless, programmable macro mini keyboard here. This is really neat. Wow, I was really looking forward to getting this. So this is what I will use with my recording sound booth. So that sound booth is just over there. It's right next to me. This thing's programmable, so I can program this knob and I can program these switches to do things. It operates via Bluetooth, so it's wireless. So I can sit with my instrument. I don't want to be tangled up in wires and cables, which is how I have worked the past few years, working on all the Silver Falls music. It was kind of like a laser grid, where I sat with my instrument and I couldn't move at all, because if I moved, I would rip out one of the cables from my whole workspace, and then it would ruin the whole recording session. So I had to sit very still and not move. I don't want that anymore. So I can sort of use this to start recording, stop recording. That can be the undo button, whatever I need. This knob, I can use that for, moving the cursor back and forth, whatever have you. So I was great. Yeah, we got a part that I really needed for the recording booth. So I got something useful here. Oh, what do you know? Another USB-C cable. I don't already have 50 of these, so that's great. All right. Let's see what else we've got. Alright, this is a 600 milliamp rechargeable battery programmable turbo. I'm trying to... What is that description they've given me? Oh, great, great. This is great. Oh, another USB-C cable. How nice. Hey, Grizdamation, good to see you. Fence post, what's your favorite Skylander? Top 3. You know what? That's not even that's not an unrealistic name for a Skylander. I'm looking at my collection. I'm thinking I'd like to take a break some nights, maybe just take half an hour, just enjoy some Skylanders. I love the music. I love the vibe. It's really fantastic. Great. Look at Data Frog. They recently made that Super Nintendo shaped controller that is a gaming console. Oh, that feels nice. I'm gonna have to share a little bit of ASMR with you for a little bit, because oh wow, these use machine switches here. Okay, it's a little wobbly on the D-pad. Those are machine switches, which feel nice. The analog sticks feel good. Okay, you get a lot of sound on the buttons, but they're fine. They're a little on the... They wobble, but they don't wobble when you push in, which is good. Oh, those L and R buttons feel nice. Skylanders... Heck, I'll do a Skylander stream if you guys want to do a Skylander stream, and I'll show you some of my Skylanders. There are macro buttons back here. Hey! Okay, there's Connect. There's Wavy Ocean. What does that mean? There's a light there. So actually, yeah, this is a Bluetooth controller, which I think you can use with the Switch. Yeah, but no, I just, yeah, I actually needed this. So you know how sometimes on stream we've played games, like particularly when I played games through running it on the computer. You guys won't believe what controller I was using. I was using a USB adapter, and I was using a PlayStation 1 controller plugged into a USB adapter in order to play those games, and it kind of sucked. It was really awful. So this is great. Yeah. So now, when we play games on stream and we're running through the computer, I have a Bluetooth controller. Oh, this feels so nice. I would really like to get more of these. These are comfortable. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, I like that. I like this. I would sync it up to the to Guardians and Metal Exterminators right now, but I may end up having to go to the development menu, and I can't show that on stream. And I don't want to touch anything. Everything's working fine right now, but this is... Okay, great, yeah. Alright, so we've got a couple useful things for the studio here. Let me go ahead and open this up, and hopefully this is something useful. Oh, you know we've got to turn up that 3DS theme song. Oh, that's business stuff. It's a renewed business card, which is also for the studio. So there we go. All right, if we can all just relax for a second and enjoy our coffee. Is the 3DS Skylanders online? We can party up. I'm not sure. I have all the 3DS Skylanders games. I really like them. Big Skylanders guy here. I'm kind of thinking you can go online with Skylanders Racing. Superchargers on the 3DS. What is your favorite Skylanders game? That's gonna be... I almost said Swap Force, but I think Trap Team is my favorite. Yeah, absolutely. I was really close to saying Swap Force. It's gonna be Trap Team, the console version. I really like the traps. I love the engagement. It's the Wii U version I really like. I really like seeing the villains on the Wii U gamepad. You can interact with them a little bit. I really like the sound effects. I love the light. I love the Trap Team portal. I'm all about that. So, what about you, Nacho Ninja? Or you guys in the comment section sound off. Which one's your favorite Skylanders game? All right. So, oh, so here's some crazy behind-the-scenes stuff. See this sort of, how it has a trail effect, the Electro Blaster? So in development, when I was making this for the 3DS, I had to keep dialing down the number of particles. That I wanted to be a straight line, and I wanted the line to leave a trail. And that required generating more particles per frame. But if I generated any more particles per frame, it would crash the 3DS. So this is the absolute limit of what I can actually display in terms of particles in this game, and that's why it looks like a dotted line and not a solid line. If I had even done like 2 more particles per frame, the 3DS would instantly crash. That's how close this game is to not actually running on hardware. It's walking the line so tightly. Even adjusting the particle effects on that would have been too much for hardware. So that's exciting. I'm trying to get because I know you can get other environments as well, and I need to check them out. Oh, cool! The giant, he's having root motion issues, as we all do. Sometimes you wake up, and you just have root animation issues, and that's what this guy's doing here. So I'm gonna go ahead and let them kill me. I better test it. Okay, see, here's the thing. Okay, that's shield and special attack. Okay, see, and the special attacks. To me, the special attacks, you press the R button, and it looks a little lackluster because I had to keep reducing the number of particles in that particle animation system. And again, the same with the Electro Blaster. If I had even like 2 more bolts of lightning per animation, the console would have crashed. The Shining Absol, good to see you. Thanks for jumping on the stream and hanging out. So good to catch a stream. Been a while. Yeah, it's been a while, but we'll be doing regular streams now. I've been making or writing out and planning videos. I'll be doing regular series now, like cut content for each game, more behind the scenes stuff, just fun stuff, that the kind of thing that I enjoy hearing about for games that I like. I'll be creating content like that. I forgot I had the axe. I could just kill these guys and get the experience points anyway while I'm talking, so yeah. But with the Switch, I don't have that sort of memory budget. Oh, cool. Yeah, I completed the mission. It just needed to kill the boss. That's fine. Cool. So I'll take my reward, whatever it is. So here's the thing, like, I can't access my item menu. But I think, okay, yeah, I've equipped it because I know how to navigate the menus without looking. Because I'm so good. Oh, right, okay. Wow. Hey, the space sword looks pretty cool. This is my first time seeing the space sword on the Switch. I'm going to put some notes down because I want that space sword to cast shadows as well. So I'll be doing that here. So I'll be going weapon and item lighting should cast shadows. Putting that. So what I'm doing today, I mentioned it earlier in the stream, is I'm playing through. Well, I call it falling through or crashing through, but I'm falling through. It's a sort of a testing method where I just play the game, and when I bump into things that need changing or adjusting, I'll take notes on it, and that's how I keep track of the stuff that I need to do. And there are times in development where that's the most efficient method. It's the fastest method. Early on, it's an efficient method, but once you're farther in development, that's not so effective anymore, because the number of things that you'll bump into, that you'll fall into, are few and far between. And that's when you need very good documentation and organization. Okay. Nacho, for me, it's Superchargers and Spyro's Adventure for 3DS. Spyro's Adventure on 3DS looks insane. What is up with the graphics in that game? It's incredible. Sometimes I'll boot it up and look at Spyro's Adventure on 3DS, and it's like, how did they get it to look like that? It looks so good. I just love the camera angles. They're close to your character in Spyro's Adventure on the 3DS, and it makes the 3D pop out more. So, yeah, I love that one in particular. Superchargers is great. It took me years to get a dark Donkey Kong with his dark barrel blaster. I eventually found it in a pawn shop 8 months ago, so it took a while. That was that was tough to find. Silver Falls 3D games would look and be awesome on the Loom Pad 2 AI glasses free 3D. They are looking for game devs too. What is the Loom Pad 2? I'm going to look that up now, and if they're looking for developers, you know what? I love making 3D stuff. Loom Pad 2. I can make 3D. So this is glasses free 3D. Hey, that's neat. If they want to send me one, I'll make games for them. I'm not personally going to spend $1,000 US on it because my hands are full making Nintendo games. So I have no reason to invest $1,000 of my dollars in that. But if they want to send me one, I'll make games for them. You think Trap Team is pretty universally accepted as the best game by most fans, but if I can throw out a controversial pick, Superchargers. Superchargers is great. I like it. I like that it does something different. I really like the racing in Superchargers as well. And I got a friend to play it. I've mentioned this friend in streams in the past who he destroys me in Mario Kart. And I got him to play it. And he's kind of like Mario Kart's the best racing game. But he thought that Superchargers, the racing in Superchargers wasn't bad. And that is a huge compliment. Notes. Space Sword looks pretty good. Yeah, that's going in my notes. Yeah. See, I'd like to start upgrading my stuff, because when you upgrade your stuff, you increase your character's attack speed. Uh, when you upgrade the weapons, you can. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if upgrading the weapons. No. That's the other games that you can upgrade the attack speed. But certain characters are just so great at doing combos with the weapons. So those characters, you can upgrade their attack speed, and you can get some just fun combos going out. Well, you guys, I think most of you have already played, and you understand how the combo system works. And it's just about figuring out how different weapons link together. And you just invent your own combos, and you can just get some crazy chains going, and you just keep bumping up that combo power. I'm fine-tuning the, your combo power, how it goes. I'm fine-tuning it a bit, so it's easier to keep your combo damage percentage up, your boost, so it'll be easier to get bigger boosts. And on the counter side to that, I'll be balancing out the enemies so they have a bit more HP, but that way you can have a bit more fun with your combos and just watching your numbers get bigger and bigger. I'm a big RPG guy. I love seeing numbers go up, so I like to share that sort of excitement with people, is watching your numbers go up. Jim Killis, how exactly is the game running on Switch? Does the Switch support the same engine of the 3DS version, or did you have to do a lot more manual work to get it to even run at all? So, hey, that's a great question. Thanks for answering that. So, when I create, or when I was working on the all of the Silver Falls games, once I got past 3 Down Stars. So I finished 3 Down Stars. I did not know if anyone was even going to like 3 Down Stars. I didn't know if I was going to earn any money with it. And so that one, I developed that strictly as a 3DS game. And I knew that if I were to port it, it would take a significant amount of work, structurally, programmatically. But by the time I had finished Undertakers, and Undertakers was very much the same as well. It was really just meant to be exclusively a 3DS game. By the time those games came out, is when the sort of the base of supporters for Silver Falls started building, and people were letting me know that they enjoyed the games. And so at that point, I knew that it would be important for me to start developing these games to where if I needed to port them to other consoles or remaster them, then I should develop these games so that I would be able to do that without a negatively significant amount of work. So with Guardians and Metal Exterminators and every other game that I've launched, after Undertakers, I developed it knowing that people may want this remastered and brought to other systems. So to answer your question, it didn't take a lot of work to get this, because this is running on the same engine and framework as the original Guardians of Metal Exterminators. It did not take a lot of work to get this running on the Switch, but that's only because I knew that people may want this on the Switch if people asked for it. And so I did a significant, hugely significant amount of work when I was making this for the 3DS so that I could bring it to the Switch later on. And it took an immense amount of planning. And all of the games that I worked on, at the end of the product life cycle for 3DS and Wii U, all of those games I created knowing that people would likely want the games ported. So all of them, in conjunction with just doing the base development on them, I also developed them simultaneously developing them for the Switch as well. Not that I was actively putting them on the Switch, but I was developing them basically so I could deploy it on the Switch, and that is not something that you can just copy and paste. That takes a significant amount of work, and it is something that I actively worked on when I was working on this game. So it didn't take a huge amount of work. What's going to take the most work now is just reprogramming the menus. and redesigning them so that they don't get in the way. Because in the original, it felt nice having the whole top screen, nothing got in the way of the action, because I can put all the heads-up display elements down below. And I'll swap over to Oxen now. So if I press up on the D-pad... There we go. I pressed up a little too soon, I think. Jim Kills, great stream, by the way. I've never really seen any developer show the development process for a Switch game like this. Oh, cool. Well, I'm happy to share more, do more. Okay, here's a little sneak peek. What I'll be doing is I'll be doing 3D modeling and other different parts of development on live stream with you guys. But what I'll be doing is I collect like the weird, crazy video game controllers. So what I'll be doing in the future is I'll be doing 3D modeling with like NES controllers. I'll be doing 3D modeling with a DDR dance pad, with various like steering wheels for the N64 and PlayStation. Just funny stuff. I'll be trying to recreate or draw the Silver Falls cryptids. I'll be trying to draw them using weird peripherals and USB devices. So yeah, and I thought just on stream it would just be a fun way to hang out. So I've been planning on content like that. So I just need a couple more days to finish ironing out the studio here, and then I can give you a full tour. So yeah, if you weren't around for the other streams and the other announcements, I've spent the past month now tearing down my old office, renovating it, setting up all new workstations, and I have a full-time recording booth, full-time live streaming space here. I've got a green screen. I'll be doing full-body motion capture for characters now, so I'll be doing far less hand animating of the characters. There'll be some, obviously, for the things like in real life I can't do, like a quadruple backflip. It'd be really difficult to do like a what's the kick from Street Fighter? I'd like some pound cake kick. I can't do that in real life. So those are the kind of things where I would hand animate them. But now for sort of cinematic events where characters are talking or where they're, you know, just doing other actions and whatnot, I can do full motion green screen capture, and then I can convert those to motion capture and animation data for the characters. Spinning star kick. No, that's the Chun-Li one. I'm talking about the Ken and Ryu. Puken kick. Whatever they say. Everyone's got their own. I'm sure there's an official name for it, you know. Whatever it is. Grizdimation, the Leia Loom Pad. Yes, your stuff would be cool. I love 3D. I love making 3D. I'm going to miss making 3D stuff for the 3DS. I'm gonna look up the Loom Pad. I'll contact them. Great to hear. I also wonder if you originally designed the textures and meshes for this game at a higher quality than downscaled them for the 3DS, and if so, do you have the original source files? You got it. You got it. Do I call you Jim Killis? Do I call you Jim? Yes. I created, actually, even for 3 Down Stars, I created every single asset at the highest quality and the highest resolution that I could handle as a graphic artist and that my workspace would feasibly allow. So now it's a matter of going back and plugging in manually every single high resolution asset that I have saved in my asset database. Tatsumaki-sen Pokyaku. But you guys know the I'd like some pound cake thing, right? If not, you should type in Ego Raptor I'd like some pound cake, because my brain was addicted to that video. I don't know, 15, 16, I don't know, 17 years ago. I couldn't stop watching that. I'd like some pound cake. Ludo Nights, you're just in time for the party. I'm enjoying a coffee. I might get a refill on my coffee in a moment. Yeah, but what was... So, here's the thing that what was so frantic was the very final stages of development, getting this game running and not crashing like crazy on the 3DS, I had to start gutting textures on the fly, which is something I never like to do. You should never gut your assets on the fly. And I was gutting on the fly because I was working 130 hours a week. I was corresponding with Nintendo, which meant that I had to stay up until about 3 in the morning for me so I could correspond with them because I live in Australia. And so I was pulling all-nighters. I was corresponding with Nintendo. I'm debugging and building and deploying the games, all the games that were in development for Wii U and 3DS. I was in active development for all of them. I was deploying all of them. And then this game was crashing, and so I needed to cut back on the memory pressure, and so I was gutting assets on the fly, and that means that instead of going back to my database and like getting the core file, I was just sticking the high quality assets in the engine, and then I was just reducing them. I was manually reducing them and gutting them on the spot until the game stopped crashing on hardware, and I had to do that because it was faster and it saved me a huge amount of time. But now I have assets that are gutted, which means that I have to try to go back to old backups on some hard drive somewhere and try and find where I have the high quality assets. So that means that I've destroyed the high quality assets in order to get this everything running and to stop it from crashing. So gutting on the fly, you should never ever do it. I had to because I was so pressed for time and I was under so much pressure to get these games submitted and functional in such a short amount of time. So unfortunately, that's sort of where I'm finding delays right now in remastering this game. Is there's a number of assets where I'm having to redo them because I did gut them on the fly. So that was a price that I knew I was going to have to pay, and I thought, well, I'll have more time later to do that. It's not a big deal if I have to redo them later, but it sucks. So that's some behind the scenes stuff that I've never shared with anyone. So just some fun information for you since you've asked. What kind of lighting system is this game using? Is the lighting baked or using some other solution? I generally don't like baked lighting. I really prefer real-time lighting, and I only use baked lighting if it's a very specific indoor scene and I want kind of rich shadows and lighting. But this uses, nothing is baked, everything is fully real-time. You can see it's running on the Switch, but it's still using the 3DS lighting system, so it's not actually lighting per pixel, it's lighting per polygon, triangle. So the ground, you can actually see where the ground is composed of triangles, and this should remind you of old PlayStation games. So it's lighting per triangle. You can even see the building is lighting per triangle. And when you do that, you can't have shadows, and you can't have like multiple light sources influencing that polygon, so to speak. So you can actually see that here. So the next stream that we do, I'll have all of this addressed. So I'm going to, I bumped the microphone again, sorry, it's a new setup. I'm going to put that on my notes now. Here we go. Environment, this is the ranch enhancement needed. There we go. Let's all enjoy a sip of our coffee. 130 hours, man. Wow, I don't think studios that crunch their employees make them work that many. Well, I'm a solo developer, and I promised Nintendo 7 games within 10 months. So it was either get the work done or fail. Silver Falls 3DS games were worth the extra efforts. They are great. I really appreciate that. Look, I have the updated versions. I've worked on the updates for them. I'm trying to roll them out. I'm trying to work with... there was a change to how I can roll out updates, or how I have to roll out updates, and I've never done it that way. So it's a bit time-consuming and difficult for me. I have the builds of the updated games. I'm trying to get them rolled out. And at the same time, I'm trying to get this rolled out, because the updates won't bring revenue into my studio, so this is a priority right now. I need to get this and Face Takers out, bringing revenue in, because I only made a fraction of what I was planning to make in terms of bringing revenue into the studio, because the final 3DS and Wii U games didn't get to launch in Europe because of a lot of turmoil that was happening in the world. Unfortunately, there was a policy change, and it just took too long to get these games in a state where I could launch them. So unfortunately, in Europe, there were things going on in Europe that prevented them from launching, which meant I made significantly less revenue than was planned and expected, and which is why I've pushed this game to the Switch. Is that it's less development time, and I get to bring the game to Europe, and I've been hearing from people all over Europe who are disappointed they didn't get to play this one. And people are asking for all of the 3DS games on the Switch, but it's going to be very difficult because Ruby River and Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers are very much 3DS games, and it at the moment it doesn't feel right bringing them to the Switch because they would be very different games if I brought them to the Switch. And there are already games that the kind of mechanical enjoyment you get out of Ruby River. I'm already working on Diamond Island for the Switch, and that builds upon Ruby River's crafting and building system, and it feels like Ruby River is a smaller, lesser version of Diamond Island. And so in my mind, it's like, why would I put something on the console if it's going to be less than another project that I'm working on? And I don't want to give people something that's less. I hope you understand. Please understand. Any upcoming characters with Code Link? I've been diving into Deathly Delusion Destroyers and Ruby River. Yeah, I'm planning it for the future. I just need to look back at my documents and see which I've distributed already. And I'd like to bring out some new ones, but then also repeat some distribution if people missed out. The thing I think most people feel like is that a large amount of games are stuck on 3DS, but Silver Falls as a series seems to be working on ports, which is more than most are or can. Nacho Ninja, yeah. I'm only doing them because people have asked for them. I don't want to be like, we're all gamers, and we know that it sucks when studios keep giving us ports and remasters instead of making new stuff. And so I want to ensure people that my priority is giving them something new and interesting and keep the series moving forward in an interesting way. I don't want people to think that I'm desperate and I just want to keep porting the old games as a cash grab, because I'm a gamer exactly like you, and I do not like at all when studios do that. So I just want you to know that we're on the same page when it comes to that. But if people ask for these games, which they have with Ghoul Busters especially, people in Europe are saying they really wanted it, and they've let me know that with Guardians and Exterminators, they're kind of saying, hey, I'm hearing from my friend in the States that they really like Guardians and Metal Exterminators, and I would like it. So this is my way of getting the game out to Europe. Another contest for Code Linker would be fun. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd be really happy to do that. I'm planning on it. There's stuff that I'd put in that I'd realized that Unity broke. It's so frustrating that I worked on all this stuff. And then I think, yeah, I'll put this in here, and then we can use that feature, and that'll be part of a contest. And then I try it, and then it's broken, when in the previous build it wasn't broken. Currently, the version of Unity I have for the Switch does not do that. It doesn't randomly break things. But the previous versions that I had to use would just break things randomly in each build. And that's just something that everyone's job has something that isn't so great about it, and that was just one part of my job. Great, finally, I was trying to get this environment to spawn. I'm creating another environment to add as well. So right now there are 3 environments that you can land in. I think they call this one the Meadow or something. So let me just take some notes here. Wow, here's how pressed for time I was when developing this game. There's no pause. You can't pause this game. I was so pressed for time getting all of this stuff working. You can't pause. And the reason why there is no pause is because, okay, let's say, for example, do we all remember Sonic the Hedgehog, it's Boom Time? Sonic It's Lyric Time, the Rise of Lyric Time, or whatever. Um, in that game, you can pause and you can get Knuckles to double jump, and then you can infinitely double jump with Knuckles in Sonic It's Boom Time. So that's something that can happen. Rise of Lyric, thanks. More like Rise of Knuckles, am I right? That's something that can happen if you don't handle your pause menus correctly. And that takes a significant amount of work. And there are so many different mechanical elements in Guardians and Metal Exterminators. It doesn't seem like it's that complicated, but because the whole game is focused on combat, I needed to make sure the combat was complex and deep. And so there are so many different systems that I had to work on in such a short amount of time for Guardians and Metal Exterminators. I did not put the pause menu high on the priority list. That was at the very bottom of the list. And I thought, if I get to update this and I have time, I'll add the pause menu. But that means that you have to go back through all of your input systems and you need to take into account the pause menu. Because you can't let the player pause and then push buttons, because that means that will register as an input. So when they unpause it, the game will think, oh, that player just paused everything. So you can break the combo system that way. You can perform multiple actions at the same time if you're not careful, if you didn't program it correctly. That's why there is no pause menu. If I did add the pause menu here, I know that I didn't have the time to implement it correctly, so that would have resulted in a Rise of Knuckles situation. So I'm just kind of looking at the grass here, and I've upscaled the grass. If you have a look here, so this is what I meant. I didn't upscale it. I had these assets at the highest resolution, and I made sure I enhanced them. So you can see some of the grass back there is some of the grass up there is a little bit chunky looking, whereas the other grass. So that means that is a situation where, how I mentioned earlier in this stream, I gutted assets on the fly. So you see the chunky grass back there, that's an asset that I gutted on the fly. Whereas the higher resolution, you can see the bush and those grasses there. And that grass isn't too bad. That's not too bad. Those are things where I didn't gut those assets. I retained the high resolution assets. You can see it does look significantly more detailed and sharper than the 3DS version, which is what you want in a remaster. And again, I want this to be the absolute best that it can be. There's some details I need to work on, like, say, for example, if you look at her jumpsuit, the sort of directional data on the edge of her jumpsuit isn't correct, and it's bleeding through and grabbing normal data and lighting data from the backside of the jumpsuit, from the inside of the jumpsuit. So that's something I need to fix. Oh, Alex Menjivar, how's it going? What do you think about Starfield? Oh, I hope I don't sound like someone's uncle here. What's Starfield? So I don't know what Starfield is. Could you? What? Here's my response. What do you think of Starfield? If you'd like, you tell me what you think about Starfield, and then I will respond and let you know what I think about Starfield, and I will base the entirety of my knowledge of Starfield on what you tell me in the chat. So you guys tell me what you think about Starfield, and that is how I will form my permanent and my immutable opinion of Starfield. Will be based on that. The past month, I've been working so hard on renovating my office and studio, so I've been out of the loop. I didn't even know that Twitter changed. So I've been gone for a while, and then all of a sudden I look at my browser, and there is an icon for a website that looks like it's for an adult website. And I'm kind of thinking, who used my computer? Because that wasn't me, and this is a work computer especially. So why is there this X on my work computer? I had to click on it to see what it was, and it turned out to be Twitter. And I'm thinking, what in Sam Hill just happened? I'm gone for 4 weeks, and Twitter is something else. Hey, let's put some Ruby River on. I'm gonna grab the Ruby River soundtrack here. Rock on. That soaring sky, crumbling walls. We can skip Crumbling Walls. Ooh, you know, I have a soft spot for the nighttime music in Ruby River. Let's go ahead and play the nighttime music for Ruby River. Okay. Jimculus, I'm not sure if that's how it would actually work in way, but I'm still curious. Oh, hold on, that's following on. Let me go ahead and catch up to the chat here. Let me scroll on up. Do the wolves despawn like that on the 3DS, or are they despawning like that because the aspect ratio of the game on Switch is different compared to the 3DS screen? So, oh, that's good, good observation. So that, the wolves have always spawned like that. And I'm not. There must be some incompatibility, because things can behave differently when you go from different Unity versions. And so that's what's going on. Is I used a much older Unity version to create this game. It's now running on a much newer Unity version, but there's a lot of incompatibility. So that's why it's good to use the crashing through method of development testing, where you sort of just, you fall through it and you crash into something, and you find that issue, and then you can fix it. And that tends to happen with Unity. As you go to a new version, a bunch of things will be broken because of incompatibility. Okay. Nacho Ninja. Actually, Rise of Lyric, I played without any glitch problems like the game, unlike most. But yeah, Rise of Knuckles, that'd be great. Approved. That's great. You know, I find that too as well. When I play games that people tend to focus on issues and glitches, I tend to not bump into those glitches myself, because I'm generally not looking for those issues when I'm playing games. I just sort of, I tend to play games just kind of the way it seems the developer intended. And part of that is because I don't have a lot of time to play games, because when I play a game, I have a very short amount of time. So for me, it's a bit like, okay, I really just want to enjoy the game as much as I can, because I have to get back to work making my own video games. So that's how it is for me, I think. I love how dramatic her death was, yeah. So how many % you think this game's at? So right now, in terms of development, this is about 75%, not maybe 70, because I still have to create the new character models for the new playable characters. I have to sculpt the new Metal Exterminator, which we'll do on live stream. So please check in later in the week, and we'll probably sculpt that new Metal Exterminator. I've been working on some designs, and I've got a new workstation in my office that I want to share with you guys, where I'll be using a pretty big drawing tablet where I can do concept sketches and we just hang out and chat. It's really cool. So Starfield, oh okay, is Bethesda's new open world game. Starfield is the latest game from Bethesda. It's exclusive to Xbox and PC. Starfield, Fallout in space. Let's see. Evangelion 007. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Hi, Mr. Dulay. A long time no see. Great to see you are working on a Silver Falls remaster for Switch. Absolutely, yeah. Very excited about it, you know. And sort of like, so say for example, you can see the ground textures here are low resolution. You'll see that in the next stream. The ground will have a high resolution texture. It'll be sharper and crisp. It'll have depth to it. It'll have normal data, and it will have shadow casting. And it's going to be much more interesting looking once you have those shadows being cast everywhere. It's going to be much more visually interesting. That story about Twitter is absolutely hilarious. All right, so, okay, do you guys like Starfield or what? So I need a little bit more information about Starfield before I can form my immutable opinion about Starfield. If any of you have experiences with Starfield, please let me know in the comments. These guys have an active hitbox, which I thought is funny. Of course, no other enemy has an active hitbox, and it just made sense that they have the active hitbox there. Oh. And I think, oh, you know what's very funny? So this is some behind-the-scenes stuff. I was working on Guardians and Metal Exterminators and White Inside Its Umbra at the same time, and I actually, in terms of development and programming, I put these guys into White Inside Its Umbra first, these spike dudes, they were in White Inside Its Umbra first because I made the high quality assets for them, and they looked so cool. And I kind of wish fulfillment. I wanted to see them in HD, and I wanted to see them looking really cool. So they appear in the Frontier Hunters mode in White Inside Its Umbra. So actually, their rolling animation logic actually comes from Wii U. So that's actually Wii U code that's in a 3DS game, because I created them for the Wii U, and then I just downscaled. Their poly count was pretty low anyway, so I just downscaled the textures. So their rolling logic comes from the Wii U, and their models actually were on the Wii U first, and then I imported them in. So there we go. And I actually saved a fair bit of performance and processing. Their spikes are not individual parts of their character model. In terms of data, they all actually only have one spike, and then I cloned that spike in engine and repeated that spike, so it's actually very, very cheap to load them into memory and to render them, because they all actually share the one same body spike. So there's a little bit of behind the scenes there for you. Luna Knights. I'm very excited for Galaxy Bound Curse for the Switch. Oh, I really want to, when I'm working on that game, I want to do that on live stream so we can hang out and you can see me assembling. So what I'm going to do, I've taken maps, the per pixel accurate maps of the Game Boy original of Galaxy Bound Curse, and I'm overlaying them on my workspace for the Galaxy Bound Curse for Switch, so I can place the trees and the houses pixel for pixel perfectly where they should be. So pixel for pixel, it's a faithful remake in terms of the placement of everything, but I'm not limiting myself to being one-to-one, because I want to make sure that Galaxy Bound Curse can meet its full potential and not be restricted by the original version. But I just want that game to feel rich and complex and deep visually. I want it to feel dense, like it's a real world, and like you've stepped out of a party, because that's how I wanted the original to feel. Is you're partying with your buddies, your bud's having his first kid, and you're all just been partying, and you've had a couple drinks, and now you're just wandering your small mountain town late at night. It's dark, it's foggy. The fog was not something I could convey in the original version. But it's something that I'm really leaning into, is this foggy, murky atmosphere, and this sort of a hazy world, because it should feel hazy because you and your buds have had a couple drinks, so you're sort of stumbling around in the dark, and you think you're rescuing a kid, and I think it's just going to be so much fun. It's going to be between 3 and 4 players multiplayer for Galaxy Bound Curse, so I hope you look forward to that. Jim Killis, I've heard mixed things about Starfield, but overall, reviews trend more positive than negative. Evangelion, speaking of Twitter, I still think the idea of changing it to a black X is borderline dumb. I don't think it's borderline dumb. I think it crossed that border a very long time ago. Jim Killis, I don't know if it's an issue you can address, but the stream is quite blocky. Seems like the bitrate is pretty low. Okay, thanks for letting me know. That's something that that's some feedback that I was looking for. I set this up on a new system, and I don't know what I did wrong. So it's going to be an OBS situation. I need to figure out how to adjust that in OBS to make it better. Our previous setup was different, so I need to make it better somehow. Our next stream will be better, but thanks for letting me know. Okay. I'll just do a bit of research, and I'll see how to fix it. Hey, okay, so this is a new version of OBS. What is this? What is that? It says scene transition, fade. So what if I click on this? I'm going to click on this. What does that mean? Okay, I've clicked too far. I don't know what this is now. I'm going to exit out of that. I gotta experiment more with OBS, I think. So how is the audio? Let me know what you think of the audio. Because I'm no longer using the lapel mic, I'm now too far from my computer, and it would be a bit of a stretch to use that. Plus, I'll be doing more. I'm doing more things now, so I don't want to be restricted. So I've got a condenser mic here. Okay, it seems fine. Great. Audio's good. Okay. I have all the 3 down stars code linker characters been announced. So, no. No. Diamond Island, which I'm working on for the Switch, which will have the, it's building upon the crafting and building system from Ruby River. So it's basically, but it has its own story. And I've been working on Diamond Island for a few years, actually. It's been in development for a long time. It's its own story, it's its own lore, it's not the same playable character, it's not the same environment. You play on Diamond Island. But you get to build, but how the building in Diamond Island will be different from Ruby River is that there will be mechanical parts that you can use, and there will be machines that are wind powered and water powered, and so you can build fun machines. You can have neat contraptions to deal with enemies. You can build big, complicated machines if you want. There will be significant reliance on physics, since I can have advanced physics simulations on the Switch. And there's the main, the playable character, the protagonist that you play as in Diamond Island, is actually in 3 down stars and has been in 3 down stars since the very beginning. That character has been there for a very long time, but he's code linker locked. Also, the HD remaster for 3 down stars has its own code linker identity. So when I launch 3 down stars HD on the Switch, you can code link that back to 3 down stars on 3DS, and it actually adds a new character to the 3DS game. So you're taking a future game from the Switch, and it puts a character back into the original 3 down stars. Whack-a-pon, Wanderer of the Wastes. Wait, are you remastering games for the Switch? Yes, this is Guardians and Metal Exterminators. So I've already brought Ghoul Busters to the Switch, and I'm adding a new game mode to that as well. I have that game mode, I'm working on it for the 3DS as well. And it's called Frontier Busters, and it's the Frontier mode for Ghoul Busters. It's a whole new gameplay style, it's waves of enemies, it's heaps of new playable characters, it's customizable skills and weapons, it's upgrading, it's leveling up. You have a whole bottle cap skill system. I like every game that has its own Frontier game mode to have its own unique skill system. And so Frontier Busters is coming to Ghoul Busters. And I'm remastering Guardians and Metal Exterminators, so I'll be adding new playable characters, new cryptids that will be enemies that you fight, but also that you can play as. I'll be implementing enhancements and fixes, and just a total graphical overhaul. I've written and recorded 5 new tracks for this. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Let me find it on the playlist now, and I will play you some of the new music for this game. So, huge additions, graphical overhaul, very exciting to have new content. Oh, more story as well. People have been sending me messages ever since this game launched, non-stop, people saying, oh, I wanted more story for the characters, I wanted more. Okay, sure, have some more. There you go, have some more. And that's something I get a lot as well, from Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers, especially even from people that I've never even heard from before that just got into the series. Maybe Gaiden 3Ds was their first one. I'm getting messages from people saying, more story, please. Sure, okay. If there's some way where I can add more in the future, because I am, so the Gaiden for Wii U, Gaiden for Wii U was supposed to launch alongside Gaiden 3DS, and I ran out of time. My human body just started falling apart at the end of development. So I've moved Gaiden onto the Switch now, and people have been wanting more story, so I will be continuing the story in there. Okay, let me find the music for Guardians and Metal Exterminators. Oh, and I think Gaiden on the Switch, I think that may have the most playable characters so far in a game. White Inside Its Umbra has a lot. There's a lot of characters in there. And many that haven't been released yet. And I'll be doing promotions like Luna Knights asked for. I'll do promotions and then distribute more characters as well. Let me find the soundtrack here. Let's get some music. Yeah, I just got tons of stuff in development. It just takes time to really finish it and get it all out to you guys. Ezekiel, good to see you. Just came from work. Hey, I'm great. This is our first stream in the new live broadcast station, so this is great. We have much better lighting, a much better green screen setup. I have way more space to be comfortable. I can do more, but it's still in the setup phase. I'm still working and improving OBS and the setup here. So a couple of hiccups here and there. We're still getting started. Probably take another week to really finally iron out everything. Oh, cool. I can get that. So I just want my computer to open this folder. Okay. Let's see. I'm probably going to get killed by enemies here. Just Windows 10 being funny here. Okay. Let's see. I'll take that out. That's the Ruby River title music. Okay. So we'll let the Ruby River title music play, and then after that we'll play some of the new music which I've written for Guardians and Metal Exterminators. Whack-a-pawn. Oh yeah, okay. Lunar Knights. I like going back to Compendium and seeing your vision for upcoming games like Silver Falls and Outer Space. That's a real deep cut. So if you're not familiar, what Lunar Knights is talking about is Compendium is a mobile app that I haven't had time to update, but I would like to. I'd really like to just have everything evened out level to where I can have time to work on the website. I can work on my site, support apps. I'll get there. We're getting there. That's why I'm setting up this new studio and the new office. But originally there was going to be an iOS exclusive game called Silver Falls in Outer Space. And I think I'm just going to take that concept and fold it into something else. Because I don't want to develop for iOS. Not anymore. I don't like it. It's awful. Awful platform, a terrible, awful, immoral company that is wrong, and they're totally devoid of any moral fiber. So I don't want to develop for their company. Jimculus, have you ever considered making a game with a more cel-shaded, cartoony style? Yes I have. Yeah, Silver Falls is not the only IP that I have in development, and I've got... Okay, here's a little... I'll turn the music down. It's gonna be a little secret between me and you guys here. Don't tell anyone, alright? Okay. I'm working on a platform fighter called Anime Sword Boys. There's gonna be a massive roster, but every character is an anime sword boy, and you just have the biggest, most ridiculous swords that fill up the whole screen. And that is going to be in anime style. And it's just going to be hilarious, fun, and it's meant to poke fun at the fact that we're all complaining that half of the roster in Smash Bros. Is an anime sword boy. So I'm going to make a platform fighter where every character is an anime sword boy. So... yeah, I'm working on a system where the terrain can be destructible, but it's very physics-based, and every sword is so big where like you swing a sword and then it just drags the character along with it. So I am working on that actively right now. I haven't announced it. It's between me and you guys. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret. So please look forward to Anime Sword Boys. It will launch as a Switch exclusive. And I don't know if Nintendo is interested in that IP. If they're not super interested in it, I wouldn't mind bringing that to other consoles because people have been asking me to bring games to Switch, to PlayStation, to Xbox. But, Nintendo has been wonderful business partners, and they've been wonderful support, so I want to add value to the Nintendo platform. And if Anime Sword Boys is something that can bring value to their platform by being an exclusive, I'm happy to keep it as an exclusive. Something that I loved about Metal Exterminators is that you can play as enemies. Yeah, that was... And this is really funny. This is a situation where the name of the game is what determined what the game would be. I had to think of a name where the acronym was GAME, G-A-M-E, and I came up with Guardians and Metal Exterminators, and I thought, okay, well, the humans are the Guardians, and then I thought, oh, well, there has to... Why are the enemies named in the title? The enemies have to be important if they're in the title with an and. And so I thought, oh, what if you could play as the monsters, the cryptids? And then this is the game where the title of the game actually created the game itself. So yeah, in case you missed it when I mentioned before, there's going to be at least 3 new enemies that will be playable. 3 new cryptids. It'll be, I think, 2 or 3 new humans, 2 or 3 new cryptids to play as. What platformer were you talking about just recently? The platform brawler, it's going to be called Anime Sword Boys. So I've had that in development for a couple months. Right now I'm working on the terrain system because I want the terrain to be destructible to some degree. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So for Anime Sword Boys, there will be custom character creation as well. So you'll be able to earn and unlock new body parts, new sword parts, so you get to make custom swords, and they get to be all weird, crazy shapes. It's not just one, oh, here's a katana, here's a broadsword. You're going to get to make tons of weird, hilarious, crazy stuff. And you have heaps of custom characters, but there's going to be a roster of probably like 40 characters to start out with, and then they'll all have their own Naruto-esque backstory. Oh, my village was burned down, and I didn't have parents, but I was raised, by my neighbor who was murdered in front of me. So now I need to avenge my neighbor who got killed. But then they find out that their neighbor wasn't actually killed. They only faked their death because they actually hated raising that character. They just, were required to raise that character because they wanted them to grow up to be the demon turtle. It's just dumb anime storylines like that. I've written just a ton of really stupid anime storylines for all the characters that are in Anime Sword Boys. Raised by goats, yeah, there we go. Would it be possible for future games to have other languages like Spanish? So for Silver Falls, I don't think that's going to be possible because the Silver Falls games are so narratively driven and every character has such a unique voice. I would have to hire full-time translators who really understand what I'm saying, not just in terms of the story, but how the characters are saying it. And because I don't have a huge budget, it's going to be very difficult for me to do that and ensure that the story is being told the way that it's written. But for games like, say, for example, Anime Sword Boys, that's something where I can and I will have that translated into other languages because it's not really narratively driven, whereas with Silver Falls the story is extremely important and I need to make sure it's being told correctly. And speaking of being raised by goats, it's the mission where you have to protect the goat. Hey, pop the balloons! Can I... There we go. Yeah, and Anime Sword Boys is a game that I really want. It's kind of like a wish fulfillment for me, for thinking I would love to play a game like this. I'd like to have some buddies over and then just play a game that's just such a weird concept, and it's not serious. You can play competitively if you want, but it's just fun, and that's what it is. Just ridiculous fun. Ooh, let's see. Evangelion. So, have you seen the new Netflix One Piece live-action show? It's getting praised by both fans, critics, and general audience, and it got supervised by Eiichiro Oda himself. I'm a big One Piece guy. I haven't seen it yet, because I've been working on my office, and I haven't had time to watch it, but I do really want to watch it. I need to write that down. I need to put that in my notes, is that the Molotov effect needs to be redone. All of the side weapons, pickup weapons, effects need enhancement. That one needs to be remade entirely. I mentioned earlier in the stream, and I'll show you with gold as well, that I had very little time for this to do the particle effects, and I had to minimize the particle effects that I was being used. You know, that one the Molotov looks kind of weird because I needed it to fill a space, but I couldn't have more particles. If I had 2 more flames on that particle effect, it would crash the system. For Gold, when Gold shoots his Electro Blaster, I'll just die. When Gold shoots his Electro Blaster, it's a dotted line instead of a straight line. It was originally a straight line, but it was crashing the system. And so, let me go through here and I'll get to Gold, and then we'll show it. Okay, get to Gold here. I mentioned this earlier in the stream, so for anyone who missed it. You see it's a dotted line, and it was originally supposed to be a straight line. So I have to specify how many particles per frame are being generated, or how, you know. And I wanted more, but if I were to increase the particles per second on this effect, it would crash the 3DS hardware. That's how close this game is to not working. It's walking such a fine line. It's a miracle that this works on hardware as all, because it's so heavy. There's so many assets, and every single asset is loaded in to ensure that the game can run. Nick Gamer, how's it going? Thanks for coming to hang out on the stream. So I'm very much looking forward to watching the One Piece live action. I haven't seen it yet, so please, no spoilers. Even though in the anime, I've only watched up to Fishman Island, so please, no spoilers. So, yeah, okay, I see the bitrate. I see that's weird. I need to figure out how to make OBS. So I think it's OBS is broadcasting at a lower bitrate. I'm going to have to figure out how to fix that. I can't do that midstream, I think. This song's funny. This is right now we're listening to the new music that I wrote for the remaster here. Gold looks good up close. Yeah, I'm redoing all the characters, and then hopefully I didn't. Oh, I'm really hoping I didn't gut assets for the character meshes on the fly. That would have been really bad. And I think the ice in that ice is not. Yeah, this is still an early build. That ice is not the enhanced visual. So, yeah. Oh, I missed it. Hold on. Lunar Nights. You can see Maverick Moose Festival being cartoony. Oh yeah, Maverick. Well, if you look at the Silver Falls Compendium app, you can see I did have plans for a mobile game that would be a collection of mini games starring Maverick, and that was Maverick's odd but incredibly lovable endeavors. I think that's what it is. So, mobile, and it would just be a bunch of fun little mini games for your phone. You play as Maverick. I love how Ruby River changes music day and night. Adds the vibe to the game. I had so much fun. I'm going to show you guys something that I used for doing the music on Ruby River. And it's a difficult piece of hardware to work with. I'm going to grab that now. This is an electronic wind instrument, and it's what I used to create the Ruby River soundtrack. Remove the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece. Actually, I'll play some of the music that I used. Let's see here. The Soaring Skies. Here we go. That's Sigh of the Sun. Is it? Or is it Empty Forest? I'll turn this up. Yeah. So, this is a MIDI controller instrument. It has breath control, and it senses your it detects changes in your embouchure as well, so you can control music different ways. It has these digital keypads, rollers on the back to control your octaves. You can bend notes as well. I really wanted an instrument where you could bend notes by rolling on and off the pads. This one does not do that. You can bend the notes using this pad back here. So this is an Akai Professional electronic wind instrument USB. So it's very responsive. It works great. It's difficult to use though if you've never used one. And I'm accustomed to playing wind instruments, so it's a little bit odd going to this because you play it a bit differently. It's similar but different. Yeah. So Lunar Knight's Maverick is the moose god. There he is. Yeah, like a Japanese speed train. It does. There you go. That is like a Japanese speed train. So go ahead and... There you go. So, I don't know how well the microphone's picking this up right now, but the music that's playing now, I use this instrument. Yeah, and it's when you have something like this, you write music differently and you perform music differently. So it's important for me to use things like this and not just the keyboard. I like using real acoustic instruments as well. And the majority of the music for Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers and all of the campsite music for White Inside Its Umbra are all acoustic instruments, and I was able to really put myself in the headspace of sitting around a campfire with your buds, and I wanted to have the feeling of everyone brings something different to the group, and that's why every time you visit the campsites, the music's a bit different. It changes the instruments that play, and the music's different. So, anyway, I thought that was something neat and interesting to share with you. The mic's working great. Hey, Kay, thanks. Alright, anyway, I think it's been a great stream. I've got some work to take care of and I have an appointment. So I will be logging out of the stream. We can just hang out for a couple more minutes and then I can answer any questions. I've got a button undone. Yeah, we can hang out. If anyone has any more questions, I'm happy to answer them before I clock out here. I thought I was going to stream tomorrow, but I mentioned earlier in the stream I've started volunteering, and I'm volunteering to play music 1 day a week at a hospital for cancer patients. So that's 1 day of the week. It's just in the morning. I won't be in my office, but the rest of the days of the week I'd like to do live streaming more often and hangouts, and I've got what I think are just fun, interesting ideas for videos and sharing more behind the scenes information about the games that you wouldn't otherwise know about, things like cut content and secrets in the game that maybe people haven't found yet. Oh, Ezekiel, I remember that I asked you a lot in the past about the Terra Mansion RPG that you were working on. Do you inspire that game to make Road Past Guilt? So the framework I built, that's a good question, and I am. That is an IP that I do want to work on in the future. Ezekiel, the game that Ezekiel's talking about is called Dead Man's Manor, and that is something that I will launch on the Switch in the future. I have been remastering that, but the Silver Falls series is way more important right now. So I created a framework to create Dead Men's Manor, and it's an RPG framework, and it is robust. And my idea behind it was, I want to be able to create any RPG. I want to use this framework for years and years to come. Anything that I can think up for an RPG, I want to be able to make it. And so I built this massive, powerful framework, and I'm using that framework for Road Past Guilt, and it's going to work out just fine. I am. There's another game, I don't even know if I've mentioned it. I might share it on stream next time. There is another game that I'm working on that I could launch. I could probably need about 3 weeks to finish it, and I could launch it at any time. But again, it's not important. But again, so for anyone that wasn't really in the loop, because of the political events that occurred in Europe, we lost the ability to launch the Silver Falls games in Europe, which meant that all the hard work that I put in making these final Wii U and 3DS games, I only made a fraction of what I was supposed to make in terms of revenue. So it's put my studio in a really tough position. And that's why I fast-tracked Guardians of Metal Exterminators, and I've taken Face Takers, which was something that I wasn't even going to make until like years later. I realized, look, Face Takers is something that I can make in a short amount of time. If I work really hard, I can make that in a short amount of time. So I've taken that from way ahead in the future, and I'm doing Face Takers now because it's something that I know that people just have a huge amount of fun with, and because it's quite visceral and visual, Face Takers is the kind of game that will get attention because there's a lot to look at, there's a lot to see there, and it's attention grabbing. So that's why I brought Face Takers over. And if it turns out that I really just need to get more revenue in to keep the studio healthy and functional, then there's an RPG that I've been working on. I don't think I've mentioned this to anyone, and I could share it with you. I might. Oof. I might. I have to be careful with what I do with my development machine here. I'm going to remove the development machine here. Okay. The screen's going to go black for a second. Okay. So there's an RPG that I've been working on, and what I've been talking about. It's called First and Final Dungeon. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but with First and Final Dungeon, basically you play through the game, and again, I could finish it in less than a month and launch it, and then I may do that this year because I really need to get more revenue coming into my studio. And it takes a lot of time to create the Silver Falls games because they're all connected, and there's a level of consistency and quality that I want, that I need to have in the Silver Falls game. So it's very time consuming. It's exhausting to make Silver Falls games, but I enjoy it. I love it. They're my favorite games to make. But I make other games as well because I've got so many ideas. So for First and Final Dungeon, it's a JRPG, and when you play this, every time you start the game generates a totally new party for you. Just a new party with unique members, unique skills, and the game drops you off in the final dungeon, and it acts like you've already played a 40-hour RPG, and now you're in the final dungeon, and the game generates a random party for you with random equipment and skills. Your characters could either be amazing or they could be complete garbage. You now have to play through the final dungeon and get to the final boss and finish the game with a random party of RPG characters that you've never played with before. And that's what First and Final Dungeon is. Let me see if this... Oops. Okay, so this build... Hold on. I don't know if there's a problem with this build. I'm going to try and run it again. Sometimes there's issues. Jimculus, that RPG idea is insanely unique. Wow. It's so far in development that if I stopped working on Silver Falls and I only had like 3 to 4 weeks, I could launch this. And I may do that because it's such a fun idea that I would really like to do. And it's called First and Final Dungeon. Jimculus, you said the anime sword game is an action platformer. If you don't mind answering, how exactly does that work? And is it more of a platformer in terms of mechanical depth or more of an action game? So it's when I say what's a platform fighter, so it's a fighting game like Smash Bros. And it's just anime sword boys. Okay, here we go. This is first and final dungeon. It's just a debugging room here. There's a bunch of unfinished stuff, and the build that I'm showing you is a bit wonky. Let's hope nothing. Let's hope nothing confidential shows up. Okay, good. Nothing confidential happened here. So this is the very first look anyone's had at this. This is first and final dungeon. You can see that it's randomly generated a party here. One of the characters, his rig isn't working. I'm going to pick up this item and see what I get. Let's see how the rest of our team is doing. So my character's name is Rosietta. Okay, this is the character swapping, but again, the menu... I need to format the spacing because the menu spacing isn't right on everything. That was pretty fun, wasn't it? Now kiss me. Kiss me, you fool. I'm not sure why that character's saying that. I think I was testing being able to display text during that menu. I don't know why. Okay, now it's gone away. Let's go ahead and pick up this. Okay. I got an item. Obtain 1 tincture bronze. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna try to access my menu. I don't know if I'm gonna... Anything could cause this to crash. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at my stats. So this is... Every time, again, you start a save file, this is first and final dungeon. It generates a random party for you. Everyone's totally unique. They all have different equipment, different skills, different loadout. Let's see. My levels... Okay, so... Quivatina is only level 48, so Quivatina's kind of... It seems like Quivatina's a weak link, right? But you look at Quivatina's HP, and it's actually really high. So Quivatina's base stats are actually better than Sibyl's base stats. You have Tradeth and Tabitha. So I'm going to go to stats. And something that I have to work on as well, which is the game is supposed to be doing, but it's not doing, is it's supposed to generate, it takes a screenshot of the character's face and then it puts it in there. I'm not sure why that isn't functional here. It's pretty irritating that didn't work. There's a placeholder. So let's look at Quivatina's... okay, power and magic are pretty balanced. Okay, but... Oh, look at Tabitha's... Oh, Tabitha's defenses. Tabitha has better defense and power. Oh, and the traits. I'm just going to move out of the way. Let's read the traits. I'm going to get out of here. So, eagle-eyed, strong antibodies, bad-tempered, and survival expert, whatever those means. I'm going to press ZR and see what happens. No? Oh, okay. I'm going to click on that. Oh, cool. Yeah, you can read the stats. Okay. Critical hit percent is boosted by 15%. That's pretty nice. Strong antibodies. Okay, now it's not showing the rest. See, that's one of the things I need to fix. Okay. Oh, here are the character's weapon proficiencies as well. So let's see. Quivatina's pretty good with throwing weapons. That's nice. Let's have a look at Tabitha. Tabitha's pretty good with the staff. Has better base stats overall. Let's look at Sybil. Oh, wow. Sybil's base stats are not good, especially the HP. Traits are high-strung, protective, defeatist, and delicate. So I'm kind of not a fan of Sybil. This is an example where the game just generated me a kind of crappy character. Alright. I wonder if I... Let's see what high-strung means. And it's not going to show it again, so it's messed up. Okay, but let's see proficiencies. I don't know. Let's see what Tradeth has. Narcoleptic and Indomitable, right? Oh, look at Tradeth's power, though. That's not good. Oh, Tradeth is a bad character. All right. So I'm gonna like sort of talk to somebody, and I'm gonna see if I can zoom in to like a dialogue. Who's this guy? Talk to me. It's me. Are you surprised I'm here? Oh, he's acting like... So he's acting like he's been in the party for a long time. So so not only does the game randomly generate your party, it generates the characters who are not in your party, but they have been in the game already. So the game acts like there's a bunch of like other characters that you could swap into your party. Let's see. Quivatina, Tabitha, Sybil, Tradeth. You've all done so much for everyone. This chair. On the planet, even after they all turned against you. Let's do it. Together, now. Let me know what equipment you need. If you're going to put your lives on the line, can't afford to be a coward. I won't let you down. Oh, okay. Oh, they've got an item shop. Okay. Okay, cool. So that's partially functional. I'm gonna. Oh, here's like a tree guy. He's cool. Quiftina. So Quiftina said, Arabella, I'm glad to see you're still in one piece. Arabella. Quiftina, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have run so far ahead of you guys. After what Barthandalus did to Dristan, I couldn't stop myself. I had to get revenge. I hate that I can't stop Barthandalus by myself. I hate that I'm so weak. So this game, first and final dungeon, it's acting like you've already been through this whole RPG. So there's going to be huge chunks of storyline where as a player you're thinking, what the heck? What's going on here? None of us can stop him alone. I guess we're all weak. Okay. Stop acting like we need to do this alone. We're a team. That's all that matters. Evangelion. Unfortunately, I have to go. Hope to see you next time. Hey, thanks, Evangelion. Take care. Thanks for hanging out. At first, I thought it was Breath of the Wild. Ezekiel, it's weird to see them act like you know them, but you don't. Exactly. You get it. So that was my idea. Was it would be so fun. It feels like you just picked up this save file, and it's weird that these characters are like, oh, remember this great adventure we've been on? But as a player, your response is, I don't even know you. Stop acting like we're best friends. So I think that's fun anyway. Okay, if I go over there, I have to avoid that enemy because he will crash me. I know that if I go over there, something went wrong when I was bringing the battle system from the 3DS to the Switch. So if I go over there, he'll crash me. I have to avoid him. I want to go over to that town because I want to test the camera angles there. And I want to have a good look at my characters as well. Ezekiel, you don't know what to expect. Exactly. And I think that's really fun. So I want to go over and I want to see... I got 2 sharks in this save file. That's cool. Okay. I should get some camera angle changes that I was testing. What? Maybe this is an old build. I know there are spots where I wanted to test the camera angle. I might have to talk to those guys over there. Okay, that's funny. Funny, haha. Can I talk to these guys? No, they're nothing. Okay. Well, I don't get a good look at my characters here. I thought there was going to be camera angle changes. But you can see one's like a humanoid. I have a green shark, I have a purple frog, and then I have a sort of like a teal shark as well. So you can get heaps of different species, all different character styles. And again, some of them the stats are going to be bad. They'll all have different equipment. And it's just going to be fun. And so you're going through a final dungeon, but in the middle of the final dungeon is this overworld area where you can do side quests, and you can play this infinitely as much as you want. And this is the kind of area where you can level grind, you can explore, and it takes the place of an overworld because there is no overworld. You're stuck in the final dungeon in this game. It is the first and final dungeon. But this is what feels like exploring the overworld, and you feel like you have some freedom to explore and find things. Sort of the end is the beginning. All the characters are maxed out, and the final boss is too much, and you learn what happened, and 500 years pass. A little bit like that. Like, you can still raise your own characters. Okay, so I entered this cave, and it's generated me some new characters. So, check out these guys. What do you think of these character designs, right? So, like I said, the character designs are all randomized and different. They'll have different stats and whatnot. So this, and it was tough because I had to make it so all the different clothes fit the different species. This is a shark with bat wings or whatever, so he's pretty cool looking. He's got like aquatic armor. Okay. I got a tree guy. He's cool looking. Check out that guy. He's got like a cool scarf thing. You got a guy wearing a dress and rubber boots. And let's see what my 4th character... I can't get her to turn around here. Uh-oh. This may crash. It crashed. Oop. Okay. That's the end of the stream. I can't show you anything confidential there. I shouldn't have touched that boundary. Like I said, this is an in-development build, and I'm working on stuff, so it is going to crash. Anyway, yeah, if I had about a month, I could have that finished and totally playable. And I may do that because I really want to launch this game. It's just such a fun idea. All right, well, we'll wrap up the stream It's been great. Thanks to everyone for hanging out. Thanks for your feedback and helping me figure out how to get this all set up. So the next stream will be even better. We'll get some things sorted out. We'll get everything working properly. All right. There we go. Let's just get that on there. Yeah. Okay, great. And you can see I haven't remastered this opening scene yet. So this is the original 3DS opening, just in higher resolution. So this will be remastered too. So great stream. Nacho Ninja, I really like the game. How it looks. So it is cool to see different looking heroes. Oh yeah, every time you start a new save file, totally different designs for your characters, heaps of different species and whatnot. And it's just a bunch of fun RPG weirdos. So thanks for hanging out, everyone. It's been great. Raiko, you missed it. Hey, I'll be doing another stream very soon. So take care of yourselves, everyone. It's been a lot of fun. Take care. We'll see you again soon with another stream. See you around.